Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Paskatya Desatarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Prabhudakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shiman, His Divine Grace Lacey Bhaktivedanta Swaraj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Haribo, Slava Zabrani Bhaktam, Slava Shri Guru Shri Gurangi, Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamane, Namaste Saraswatam Deve, Gauravani Vicharane, Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyatyade Sadarne. Om Agana Timanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Taksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shigaro Shiyuta Padakamalam Shigaram Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitam Sha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishubhanu Siddha Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, the contents of the Gita summarized, text number 28. Vyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Vyaktanidinanyeva Tatraka Paridevana Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyaktanidinanyeva Tatraka Paridevana Tadini Bhutani Avyaktanidani Bharata Avyaktanidinanyeva Tatraka Paridevana Avyaktadini Bhutani Avyaktamidani Bharata Avyaktanidinanyeva Tatraka Paridevana. Ladies. Avyaktadini Bhutani Avyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyaktanidinanyeva Tatraka Paridevana Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyaktanidinanyeva Tatraka Paridevana Avyaktadini Bhutani Avyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyaktanidini Bhutanyeva Tatraka Paridevana Avyaktadini, in the beginning unmanifested. Bhutani, all that are created. Vyakta, manifested. Madhyani, in the middle. Do we have any translation going on? Oh, you're the translator. Go. In the middle. Oh, Bharata. It's not so difficult. Let's try it again. Bharata. O descendant of Bharata. Avyakta, non-manifested. Nidanani, when vanquished. Eva, it is all like that. Tatra, therefore. Ka, what? Paridevana, lamentation. Translation or purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Srila Prabhupada's purport. Accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing the existence of the soul and the other not believing in the existence of the soul. There is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by followers of the Vedic wisdom. Yet even for argument's sake, we accept this atheistic theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from this separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From the subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether, air is generated, from air, fire is generated, from fire, water is generated, and from water, earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestation take place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper, manifested from the earth. When it's dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains. But in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then what cause is there for lamentation, either in the stage of manifestation or in unmanifestation? Somehow or another, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost. Both in the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested, and only in the middle are they manifested, and this does not make any real material difference. If we accept the Vedic conclusion, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, antavanta ime deha, but that the soul is eternal, nityas yokta sharirina, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky, or sitting on a chariot as a king. But then we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated on the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of the non-existence of this material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of the soul or does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for the loss of the body. So the verse again, Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyaktini dinam yeva tatra kapare devana. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Saraswatunde Ve Gauravani Bacharane Nirvishesha Shnivadi Paskyatyade Sitarne. Second chapter is a summary of the Gita's contents of the Gita. And the Gita deals with three things. Matter of fact, our philosophy only deals with three things. So it's quite simple. Vedanti tattva vidas tattvaya jnanam avayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. So the first thing it deals with is Brahman, the fact that we're eternal. And Krishna spends a lot of time in the Bhagavad Gita explaining how we're eternal. Now Arjuna is on a battlefield, and it's quite relevant since sometimes Prabhupada said there were going to be 54 million people, I think, or 32 million people are going to die in the battlefield, which is quite a lot more than the number of people in Slovenia, probably maybe in Romania. So it's a good opportunity to lament, especially if you have all your relatives about to disappear. And you might disappear too. Therefore, Krishna spends a lot of time telling Arjuna, you don't have to worry because in any case, the soul is eternal, he begins with. That the body changes all the time. Matter of fact, we're sitting here right now and our bodies are changing. And our minds are changing too. But we're not changing. Our body can't remember sitting here some time ago, but we can remember. But it was a different body. It wasn't the same body sitting here last month or last year, but we were sitting here, the soul. So the soul is here, the body's here, but the body changes, but the soul doesn't change. Now no one's probably sitting here lamenting the fact that my poor body changed. I don't have the same body as I had a month ago, or a year ago, or 10 years ago. Because we feel that we're always here. And we accepted an illusion that the body's here, although it's a different body. So Krishna, in this part, will explain in many different ways how there's no need for lamentation. And the argument used here is that if we identify ourselves with this body, for argument's sake, so the body is ultimately made out of atoms, according to the scientists. Now the atoms are always changing, they're always changing different forms. Sometimes they manifest as earth, sometimes as fire, sometimes as water, sometimes as air, sometimes as ether. But no one laments the fact that the elements are changing, that the atoms are changing around. We take it for granted that the atoms are eternal. The atoms that make up water or air or fire, they're ultimately the same. Just that sometimes it appears that fire has become water. Or as Prabhupada gives the example here, sometimes you have a big skyscraper building, which was made out of earth. But then the earth is sometimes dismantled, and no one laments, oh, my building is dead. It was such a nice building, but now they dismantled it and it died. You have a funeral for the building. No, we understand that the same elements are still there. Nothing has really changed. It's just that the form has changed. That all the elements, all the ingredients of the building are still there. So we identify it with the building as a certain shape, and then you dismantle it. Nothing has really changed. It's just the form has changed. All the ingredients are there. Similarly, although we say that the soul is eternal, we also understand that all the ingredients of our body, they're also eternal. It's just that under the laws of karma, the particular ingredients that make up this particular body for right now are changing, but it makes no real difference to ourselves. It really of no interest to ourselves in general, exactly which elements we have in our body. If we had a little monitor and it says, now you have 98% water, now you have 97% water, then people probably start getting worried. Oh, my water's going down, my water's going down. Or my earth is going up, or my fire is going down. Because they don't have any meter for that, we're not concerned with it. Nor does it have any meaning to us. So though we identify ourselves with this body, but we identify ourselves with this body, a certain conception that we're imagining, that this is who I am, although this body is always changing. It's just that we're experiencing the body through our consciousness, and therefore sometimes the body feels pleasant, sometimes not so pleasant, and sometimes a mixture. That's what we're mainly worried about, whether the body is going to feel pleasant to us or not. But actually, unfortunately, we're not worried about ourselves. It's just that we've limited our experience to this limited body, and therefore we're dependent upon our experience in this material world, but depending on the body. But actually, if we become aware of Krishna, and if we become Krishna conscious, then our experience expands. Just like at night, we'd like to have a pleasant dream. Now we don't worry about the body so much when we're asleep. We worry about what our dream would be like. And generally speaking, in a dream, we have many more options. If you change your gender in a dream, no one will complain. Last night I was a man in my dream. People don't think, well, you're pretty weird. No, they just accept, all right, in the dream, you have many more options of experience than you have when you're awake that are acceptable. Even if you said, last night I dreamed I was a toad, and I dreamed you were a fly and I ate you, no one would actually become very disturbed. Why'd you eat me? I was just a helpless fly. Because it's just a dream. So similarly, in this world, which is more limited, but in one sense we take as more real, still it's just a dream. Because it's always a constantly changing body and ever constantly changing experiences. Limited though they may be, we take it seriously, and this is what we focus on, how I feel in this present circumstance. Now, people are in the most abominable situations, living on the street, but when they're intoxicated and they feel good, they don't mind, because they feel good. And they may be living in a mansion with so many rooms and so much opulence, but if they don't feel good, then they think it's very bad. So it's the circumstances are not so important as how we feel in this body that makes it important. And we're always trying to adjust our circumstances with this body so we feel good. Now at night, we don't have so much control over our minds because we're asleep, we're more unconscious. And therefore, we hope to have a good dream rather than a nightmare. Although if we have a nightmare, the only thing we can do about it usually is we have to wake up. So similarly, we're having a nightmare right now. But people don't understand they have an option of waking up. They think their option is to go to sleep rather than wake up. So Krishna consciousness is giving people the option, if you want to get a better feeling, because that's what we're interested in mostly, if you want to have a better experience of your existence, then wake up to Krishna consciousness. And that experience will be much nicer than any dream you can have or any material experience you can have. So this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Yes, you're about to fight, and maybe this body and your other bodies that you identify with, they may get dismantled. But if you think that they're a body, that they're just a bunch of atoms put together, don't worry, because the atoms will still be there, just in a different form. But they're always taking a different form anyhow, so why should you worry? There's nothing you can do about it. The forms are constantly changing, and the same atoms will still be there, but in a simply different form. Now, if you think that they're the soul, then there's no problem, because the soul has nothing to do with all these atoms, all these changes. Now, if you're worried about Bhishma or Drona, they have a very nice body, very nice atoms put together. They may be changing, but generally speaking, it's a good body. Don't worry, they'll get a better body if you kill them, if you kill their body. They'll even get a better one. So you'll be doing them a favor. Their experience will even be better. So the quicker you kill them, the better their experience will be. Of course, this is not recommended that we go around killing people to help their experience increase, get better. Because this is a religious war, and under the laws of nature, their next body will be superior. But if we go around killing people, or any living entity, there's no guarantee that either ourselves or the people we're killing will get a better form in their next lifetime. Matter of fact, it's more likely we're going to get a very unpleasant form in our next lifetime. So if we're a materialist looking for a nice experience, we should choose the things that will give us the best experience we can have in the material world. And that best experience, even if we don't believe in Krishna, is to become a devotee. Because no one eats better than a devotee. You know anyone who eats better than a devotee? Is there anyone on this planet who eats better than a devotee? Do you know of anyone? Well, amongst all the people you know, how many eat prasadam every day? Me? Anyone else? So do you know anyone who eats better than you and your husband? Out of maybe 4 or 5 other people you know. So no one eats better than the devotee. Who sleeps better than the devotee? How many worries do you have? Because we have some extra worries that people don't worry about. Like we worry about becoming a frog in our next lifetime. Generally, people don't worry about that. Although, worrying about becoming a frog is a good worry. It's a valid worry. But people who are going to become a frog, they're not worried about it. So that's unfortunate. So there are good things to worry about. But we're not worried about many things that we're going to, for instance, most of us are not worried about we're going to die. Although we do worry about it, because no one likes to die. It's very unpleasant. It's inconvenient. Prabhupada gives the example, just like in a very comfortable room, and the heat's just right, the air is just right, everything's just right, you feel comfortable. Or on a very cold day, you're under a warm blanket, and you don't have to get up. And then someone comes and rips the blanket from you and throws you out the window into the cold snow. So it's not very pleasant. So similarly, one should have, people are not, that's what they're worried about. Getting ripped out of their warm blanket into some cold place. Or too hot. But still, as I said, just like there's one little drawing, it shows people going to hell and the fires are everywhere, and people are lined up to go to hell, and one man turns to the other person and he says, don't worry about it. The secret is to keep hydrated. Some people, they have a solution. Even their hell, they can make themselves comfortable. So that's what they're worried about. They'll be in a situation where they can't make themselves comfortable. Otherwise, they don't mind being in the material world. As long as somehow or another they can get a solution. And that, in modern society, they believe that scientists can make the arrangements so in any circumstance you can be comfortable. Although we can see that it's illusion, it's just propaganda, but then again, we're already in an illusion, and we want to believe that there's a possibility that in this material circumstances we're under, there can be an adjustment so we feel good. That's all we're worried about. Which is not very much higher than the animals. Otherwise, why do they build a nest for their little birds? Why do they find a nice warm cave? They have the same concerns we have. The only thing is, in human form of life, one should understand that no adjustment will make us permanently comfortable. Therefore, one should try to find the situation where we ourselves, since we're looking for eternal comfort, we can actually find eternal comfort. That's all. So Krishna consciousness is simply offering an opportunity to the eternal soul to find eternal comfort, to find the eternal blanket in a cold room where you don't have to get up. So that's called Krishna consciousness, where you can be eternal in the spiritual world, where you're always comfortable, and it's always getting nicer. Could you imagine that? You're under your blanket and it's always getting warmer, although it's cold outside. It's cold in the room. And you never have to get up. Wouldn't that be nice? Nice music playing and incense, and you can go back to sleep and have a pleasant dream. So that's Krishna consciousness. On the spiritual level, of course. So I'll stop there. Any questions or comments?
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the lecture. If you allow me a little bit, I would like to give an analogy before I ask the question. So let's say that we have a cake that is made out of, ingredients, flour, sugar, milk, butter, whatever, baking powder. But the thing is, we don't eat the cake as such, ingredient with ingredient. It's a combination that actually creates the cake. And similarly, those who believe they are the body, who believe in the body but not in the soul, they believe that although the body is created out of atoms, is that particular combination of atoms that they lament when the body is lost or when the life is lost. And so telling them that no problem, don't worry, because the atoms are still there, it's not the same because they are not in that particular combination. So how do we understand that there is something to lament, this loss of particular combination, there is still there, that this is what they lament about?
Which combination?
The particular life they have, because they believe that by a particular combination of chemicals and whatever in the brain, that is what gives life in a body. And when the life is lost, they lament that life, that particular combination that gives the life in the body. Like not the soul, but not the fact that the atoms will still exist. Will still exist, but not the same. Like just the cake still exists if I put flour and milk and sugar in front of you, but it's not a cake.
All right, well, let's use your analogy of the cake. Now you bake the cake and it's there.
Yes.
But just like in 3 weeks from that, I'll give you the example of McDonald's. Did you ever hear this? I think it was a movie called Big Mac or something. I forget the name of the movie. So in the movie, they decided to. One man, well, the movie in the movie documentary, he decided to only eat from McDonald's for 1 month. So he did a test beforehand, and he was perfectly healthy. Everything, all his, according to the medical professionals, his analysis, blood sugar, heart rate, everything was perfect. It was normal. Then he only ate McDonald's for 1 month from McDonald's restaurant. And after a month, he was almost dead. He was pre-diabetic, his heart rate, arrhythmia, his blood pressure went up. Super Size Me, it's called, the movie, the documentary. Now, he decided to do an experiment. He took McDonald's hamburgers and everything else from McDonald's and put it under a glass and waited for a month to see what happened. So in a month, everything turned color, green color. The things start to grow and the McDonald's hamburgers started to disappear. So everything started to become very colorful, green. The hamburger turned green and yellow and pink. Except for the French fries, they stayed exactly the same, unchanged. Half a year later, the French fries looked exactly the same as when you put them underneath the cover, under the glass. So the point is that we may not notice the changes because they're relatively subtle or little, not so much change. But after some time, then we can see there's a big change. So we may imagine that actually we're disturbed because we're leaving an unchangeable body, and now we're going somewhere else, but we like the body that we had. But the question is, which body? The little baby body, or the 15-year-old body, or this body that we imagine is unchanging, but it is changing. At every moment it's changing. So in that sense, it is relevant that we're just imagining that this body is unchanging until we look in the mirror 20 years later and we think, oh, it's a little bit of a change. So it is changing, we're just not noticing the changes, that's all. But then again, we don't notice many things that are changing. The whole world's changing, but we're a little unconscious. So we take that as bliss. Ignorance is bliss, that I'm thinking I'm in a body, it's unchanging, and therefore I'm leaving this wonderful, unchangeable body, and I'm going somewhere else, and therefore I'm lamenting. But actually, we're not leaving an unchangeable body. We're leaving a very changeable body that was going to change anyhow. Whether we die today or tomorrow, it's going to be a different body. But if we're so concerned with our particular body right now that I'm leaving it, don't worry. Everything's going to be there. It's just that we're going somewhere else. You don't have to worry. If we identify with this, what we think is our body, which is practically, most of it is, according to the scientists at least, 99% of what we think is ourselves is just space. And just a few, electrons spinning here and there. Even if we think it's that, don't worry, the space will still be there, even if we leave. So it's just Krishna is just saying to Arjuna, the ignorance of your perception is that you think that in the beginning the body was unmanifested. I mean, after all, this body just came out of the same earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, whatever, at least the 5 gross elements. We were somewhere else, and we weren't waiting. I just can't wait till this body gets manifested, this wonderful body. And then finally it gets manifested and we're in it. Wow, victory, everything's great. We've achieved the perfection of life. And then it starts changing in the middle. And my God, it's changing. But it's all right, it's still the same body, more or less. And then we leave it, and then we're back where we started again, at least in terms of the body. It wasn't there before. for a very brief period of time, we identify with it, and then it disappears. At least it disappears, but all the ingredients are there, waiting for someone else to manifest it in another body. The same body that we're in now could have been a chicken or a dog or a lion or a demigod in the past. We just temporarily manifested this combination. Does that make sense?
Yes, I have a follow-up, if possible. Is it understandable that they manifest for what they consider the premature change, drastical change of the body?
Well, when is it premature?
Like, for
when
example,
when you're 99 years old.
You gave the example with the McDonald's. I mean, it's something that you lament after one day that it already changed, and when it's already full of mold, then you don't lament anymore. But while it's still, I don't know, appetizing, then you lament not having it.
Because that's the soul. That's the soul is so attached to the body that even it's old and rotten, it doesn't want to. We don't want to leave it.
Yeah, but in this verse, isn't it that Arjuna worries even about his relatives that are not old and on the verge of dying from old age?
Yeah, we're worried about everything in the material world.
So this is what I'm referring to, premature.
Actually, what we're worried about is how we're going to feel. That's all about the situation. So we have a certain conception that we've been brought up to, which would make ourselves feel good. Everyone's happy. Just like, for instance, if we went to a Christmas party, and everyone there was eating dead meat, taking intoxication, whatever else they were doing, watching nonsense cartoons, and everyone feels good. We wouldn't feel good if we went there, hopefully. But everyone else feels good. So and we start complaining, what are you doing here? You're wasting your time. Why don't we eat something, a little bit more nutritious? But people think you're crazy. We feel great. We're having a great time here. So our conception of what a good time is, everyone's conception is different. Some people, they take a pin and they stick it through their tongue. They feel great about it. Because that's their conception. So everyone has their conception of what arrangement in the material world is going to make them feel good. But it's all different. It's more or less, we're living here not on the basis of the external world. We're living here on the basis of mental concoction. So some people think, there are people who hold their arm up and let it wither away and, do their austerity. They feel great about it. In fact, people throw their money. You're doing great. But it's just a mental concoction of what's good. So that's what we're living in, just a mental concoction of what we think is good. Anything else?
Thank you.
All right. Grandra srimad-bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You have to stay here and ask questions, or else.
Sorry?
You have to stay here to ask the questions.
I've done my share of questions these past weeks. I think